Hi, welcome to Actual Spinster. Today I'm going to do a 5-star TBR prediction video. And I know I've said I'm not doing any TBRs, but this is more like looking at books that are on my TBR, like a lot, wider than just like a specific thing, and deciding which ones I think I may give 5 stars to. And I'm not setting like a time limit or anything like that. It's also partially because I did this a couple years ago and I made a little bit of progress with the books that I chose, but a couple of them I just sort of failed at in some way, or there was some issue, or I just no longer really think that the books that are left for me to read are going to be 5 stars. I mean, maybe one of them, but yeah. I will leave the videos I've previously done of this kind of thing in the description box if you do want to check out like what I said before. To briefly go over the ones I already have picked out and the ones I haven't read that aren't disqualified for whatever reason, which I will give you. I still hope to read. I'd like to start new, start fresh. Like let's go. So Old Baggage by Alyssa Evans was on this TBR. I believe she's a TERF. I've taken it off. Honestly, I think my previous list has been somewhat like infected by like bad TERFy energy, really. Although I don't think that Hilary Mantel was a TERF. She did do this interview where she said like some transphobic stuff before she passed away. But I have read Bring Up the Bodies, which was on this 5-star TBR predictions. I think I gave it 3 stars. It was really disappointing to me, and I also thought it was actually quite misogynistic and like weird about Anne Boleyn and stuff. So to be clear, I'm not like an Anne Boleyn defender, but like I'm not an Anne Boleyn defender, I guess, but I did just think that the representation of her was misogynistic. Also on this list was Summer War Show by Sylvia Townsend Warner, which is not that I did not like it, I just haven't finished it. I'm not sure that I will. I've spoken about it before, like I was reading it during a time when my friend had died, and then I just have really struggled to go back to it, and maybe many years in the future I might, but I just decided to like park it where I was reading it. I think the 3 left over that I haven't read are books like these 3. So that's this book, which I've shown many times before, Child of Fortune by Yuko Tsushima. It's still on my TBR, just I don't know. And then Signs for Lost Children by Sarah Moss. I no longer think this is a 5-star prediction. I think maybe I'll enjoy it, like maybe 4 stars, but I don't think I'll give it 5 stars. Don't really know why I did, but there we go. And then this book, Mammal, What Are We Called Now by Jacqueline Mesnot Amar, which is non-fiction. And I mean, I probably won't give it 5 stars, I feel like, but I'm sure I'll like it. Me doing this new TBR isn't me saying that I'm not going to read or enjoy these 3, but I just kind of like, I'd like to start afresh, like I said. Oh, but I do think the major success of that batch was that I picked Lucy by Jamaica Kincaid, which I did give 5 stars to, and I loved, and I do think it's a really fantastic novel, so I would really recommend that. So following on from Lucy, because it was such a success, I decided that I would put this book, The Autobiography of My Mother by Jamaica Kincaid, on my reading list, on my predictions list. Yeah, also I think it's a nice cover. I really like it, and I like the colour that has been used. Writing in precise lyrical prose that uses the repetition of images and words to build a musical rhythm, Jamaica Kincaid conjures up the world of Dominica in all its beauty and casual cruelty, a world in which the magical coexists with the mundane, a world in which the ghosts of colonialism still haunt the relationships between men and women. In doing so, she has written a powerful and disturbing book. I don't know why I read that so like funnily, although that is the only thing that's on the back, which I don't like. It's just a quote about it instead of like a proper blurb. But like since I read Lucy, which was the first Jamaica Kincaid book I had read, I just kind of decided like I wanted to read like as much of her work as possible, really. So I just I saw this in a charity shop one day and I was like, well, I gotta pick it up. Here we go. The blurb is inside. So it looks like it's a novel narrated by a 70-year-old West Indian woman who's looking back on her life. So let's just do it in the order that I've placed these books. It's not really in any kind of real order. The next book is My Cousin Rachel by Daphne du Maurier. I loved Rebecca. I thought it was really fantastic. I've then spoken to people who also really liked Rebecca and then who've read this and are like, this is even better than Rebecca and it's gayer. And Rebecca's pretty gay, so looking forward to it. This is a book that I'm borrowing from a friend, and also I'm hoping to read it in the next month or so. This is Everything for Everyone, an oral history of the New York Commune 2052 to 2072 by Emmy O'Brien and Eman Abdelhadi. And yeah, it looks great. I'm just excited. I'm going to New York. I might be in New York when I post this video, depending, and I'm gonna bring it with me to New York to read that, because it's about what's gonna happen in New York in the future. I'll go to the places and I'll be like, did you know this is where the commune was founded in 2052. Next we have The Golden Notebook by Doris Lessing. This book has been on my TBR for ages, but I have been looking for a copy, like a physical copy to read, that I thought was nice. And I did settle on this, which, like, I don't know, it could be a better cover. To be honest, I thought that there was going to be like a nice like Virago edition. They don't publish this book, I believe, like I don't think they do. I might have missed it, but I could never find a version. So I had to settle for this, because I also just kind of, you know, like at the beginning of this year I was like, one of the books I'd really like to get to this year was this book, and I haven't gotten to it yet, but like it's getting closer and closer to me picking it up, you know. So yeah, there's this. I believe this is set in the 50s, about two women's relationships. Main character's called Anna, I think. A divorced single mother and a novelist. It's also about communism, politics, women, relationships. I think it's also, I feel like I've seen people talk about it in the way that like it's sort of on the lesbian continuum, but like it's not explicitly, like not that necessarily Doris Lessing meant for it to be, but like it's gay, you know. Me just like deciding books that I haven't read are gay. Then I have this book, The Passion According to Renee Vivian by Maria Marçal, translated by Kathleen McNerney and Helena Buffery. This is a book I got more recently, I feel like, than most of these, and it just seems really cool. It seems kind of like Insurrecto, which I read, which is about filmmaking and history and probably grief. I feel like this is probably going to be about grief, and this is also one of those things where it has like multiple timelines, and it is about filmmaking, and it's specifically about Renee Vivian, who was this like fantasy poet who was English, and then she moved to France or whatever, but she wrote all of her poetry in French. I mean, I think and like she named herself Renee Vivian, and it's about her life as imagined by two principal narrators, a 1980s Catalan documentary filmmaker and a 1920s French archaeology scholar and museologist. So yeah, it just looks really great and interesting and very exciting. Okay, this one is like a little bit of a wild card, but I actually do think it has potential. If you have watched many of my videos, you might know that like I really like experimental fiction, I really like weird things. So, and from the way people talk about this next book, I feel like it definitely could be a book that I really love, and that's The Master and Margarita by Mikhail Bulgakov, which is translated by Michael Glennie. This is also a book I've had for a little while. I think it's like a really absurd story. I also sort of don't want to know loads about it. I believe the devil is involved in this. And yeah, I just I don't want to read the flaps, because I feel like on these kinds of editions they literally always give away the whole plot. So when was it published? I will take it down. I feel like maybe it's a 1920s book, but I could be wrong. I think this was written originally in the Russian in 1938, like finished around then. I also think that the author was like heavily criticized or like suppressed by the USSR and stuff like that, so that should also be interesting to read. And then lastly I have Body of Glass by Marge Piercy. I am a big fan of Marge Piercy. I've had this on my shelves for a little while, kind of like because Woman on the Edge of Time is just such an intense novel. I feel like you just need a lot of space before you're ready to keep going with Marge. I don't know if that's fair. I have read a couple of her poems actually, because they're in like a really nice book about converting to Judaism. But yeah, I was looking at this the other day and I was like, I think it's time to try to prioritize this soon. I believe this is about a golem. It's set in the future, and it is about, I think it's about a cyborg, a human robot creature, but I think the sort of idea is that it's similar to, I think it's also similar to like the figure of the golem in like Jewish like mysticism and folk tales. Yeah, I'm pretty excited for all of these books, which is good to feel. I think that this book is one I'll get to, also because it's not my book, so it can't just stay on my bookshelves for ages. And also I do think I'm going to get to The Golden Notebook in the next few months, and then yeah, hopefully keep going. I think this is great reading maybe for like Women in Translation Month. Obviously I do have my Virago reading project, so I could wait until like September, October to read this in 2024. I mean, there is also Karabathon to read this, but again, that's waiting until June, and I feel like maybe I won't want to do that. Or maybe I will, I don't know. Let me know if you've read any of these books, or if you have any thoughts about them, or ones like them that you think I would like. I mean, I will hopefully get to these too at some point. Maybe because I have just picked quite a few books, I will do like a kind of midpoint wrap up depending on like how successfully or unsuccessfully I get through these in any amount of time. I mean, yeah, I just sort of, part of me is like, should I just get rid of this book because maybe I'm not that interested in it anymore? It's like the end of the series of books in this kind of loose trilogy, but at the same time, I mean, I am interested. I just sort of feel like, I don't know, I think maybe I need to try and read a chapter or so of it to see, because it's not like I gave the book before this one in the series 5 stars. I gave it like 4 stars, 3 stars or something. It was the first book in the series, which is very different because this is like a historical fiction novel as opposed to that first one, which is less so that and more in the present day. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, those are all the books. I hope you're doing okay. I hope you are disrupting a state-funded arms manufacturer, you know. I hope you're doing a lot of things. And I hope I gave you some company. I will talk to you when I next talk to you. Bye.